ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथां मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणजमुना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सागरलिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभासुदेव प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे मुखं वाचा So today is the disappearance day of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Rasikananda Prabhu, correct? Rasikananda Prabhu also, right? I remember seeing in the calendar today morning.
Yes, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Vasudevaya.
So today is special verse. And then yeah, that's why I'm very happy. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mantrenanena devasya Kurya Dravyamahim Buddha Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair Deshakala Vibhagavet
Deshakala Vibhagavet.
Mantranena devasya
Mantranena devasya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mantrenanena devasya
Mantrenanena devasya.
Kurya Dravyamahim Buddha
Surya Dravyamayim Buddha.
Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair
Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair.
Deshakala Vibhagavet.
Deshakala Vibhagavet.
You
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mantrenanena devasya. Surya Dravyamayim Buddha. Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair. Deshakala Vibhagavet. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mantrenanena devasya.
Mantrenanena devasya
Surya Dravyamayim Buddha.
Buddha
Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair.
Saparyam Vividhair Dravyair
Deshakala Vibhagavet.
Veshakala Vibhadavit.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yeah.
Mantrenanena devasya. Surya Dravyamayim Buddha. Saparyam
Sapanyabi
Deshakala
Deshakala-vibhagave.
Wow. Oh. Om.
Om.
Oh my Lord.
O my Lord,
Namaha.
Namaha.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
I offer my respectful obeisances.
I offer
I
my
offer my respectful obeisances.
Bhagavate,
Bhagavate
Bhagavate,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Vasudevaya,
Vasudevaya,
unto the Supreme Lord.
unto the Supreme Lord,
Vasudev.
Vasudev,
Mantrena.
Mantrena,
By this hymn or mantra.
by this hymn or mantra.
Anena.
Anena,
Devasya.
Devasya,
Lord.
Of the Lord.
Kuryat.
Kuryat,
To do.
One should do.
Dravya Mahim.
Divyamayi,
Physical.
Physical.
Buddha.
Buddha.
One who is learned.
One who is learned.
Saparyam.
Saparyam.
Worship by the prescribed method.
Worship by the prescribed method.
Vividhai.
Vividhai.
With varieties.
With variety.
Dravyai.
Dravyai.
Paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia.
Desha.
Desha.
According to country.
According to country.
Kala. Time.
Time.
Vibhagavit.
Vibhagavi.
One who knows the divisions.
One who knows the
Translation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 12th syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. One should install the physical forms of the Lord, and with the chanting of the mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs exactly according to the rules and regulations prescribed by authorities. But this should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya is known as the Dwadashakshara mantra. This mantra is chanted by Vaishnava devotees and it begins with Pranava or Omkar. This is an injunction that those who are not Brahmanas cannot pronounce the Pranava mantra. But Dhruva Maharaj was born a Kshatriya. He had once admitted before Narad Muni that as a Kshatriya he was unable to accept of Narada's instruction of renunciation and mental equilibrium, which are the concern of a Brahmana. Still, although not a Brahmana, but a Kshatriya, Dhruva was allowed on the authority of Narad to pronounce the Pranava Omkar. This is very significant, especially in India. The caste Brahmanas object greatly when persons from other castes who are not born in Brahmana families recite this Pranava mantra. But here is tacit proof that if a person accepts the Vaishnava mantra or Vaishnava way of worshipping the deity, he is allowed to chant the Pranava mantra. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord personally accepts that anyone, even one of a low species, can be elevated to the highest position and go back home, back to Godhead, simply if he worships properly. The prescribed rules as stated here by Narad Muni are that one should accept the mantra through a bona fide spiritual master and hear the mantra in the right ear. Not only should one hear, chant or murmur the mantra, but in front of him he must have the deity or physical form of the Lord. Of course, when the Lord appears, it is no longer a physical form. For example, when an iron rod is made red hot in a fire, it is no longer iron, it is fire. Similarly, when we make a form of the Lord, whether of wood or stone or metal or jewels or paint, or even a form within the mind, it is a bona fide spiritual transcendental form of the Lord. Not only must one receive the mantra from the bona fide spiritual master like Narad Muni or his representative in the disciplic succession, but one must chant the mantra. And not only must one chant, but he should also offer whatever foodstuff is available in his part of the world, according to time and convenience. The method of worship, chanting the mantra and preparing the forms of the Lord is not stereotyped, nor is it exactly the same everywhere. It is specifically mentioned in this verse that one should take consideration of the time, place, and available conveniences. Our Krishna consciousness movement is going on throughout the entire world, and we also install deities in different centers. Sometimes our Indian friends, puffed up with concocted notions, criticize this has not been done. This has not been done. But they forget this instruction of Narad Muni to one of the greatest Vaishnavas, Dhruva Maharaj. One has to consider the particular time, country, and conveniences. What is convenient in India may not be convenient in the Western countries. Those who are not actually in the line of acharyas or who personally have no knowledge of how to act in the role of acharya unnecessarily criticize the activities of the ISKCON movement in countries outside of India. In countries outside of India. The fact is that such critics cannot do anything personally to spread Krishna consciousness. If someone does go and preach, taking all risks and allowing all considerations for time and place, it might be that there are changes in the manner of worship, but that is not at all faulty according to Shastra. Srimad Viraragavacharya, an acharya in the disciplic succession of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, has remarked in his commentary that Chandalas or conditioned souls who are born in lower than Shudra families can also be initiated according to circumstances. The formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them Vaishnavas. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that his name should be heard in every nook and corner of the world. How is this possible unless one preaches everywhere? The cult of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhagavad Dharma, and he especially recommends Krishna Katha or the cult of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. He recommends that every Indian, considering this task to be Paraupakar or welfare activity, take the Lord's message to other residents of the world. Other residents of the world does not refer only to those who are exactly like the Indian Brahmanas and Kshatriyas or like the caste Brahmanas who claim to be Brahmanas because they were born in the family of Brahmanas. The principle that only Indians and Hindus should be brought into the Vaishnava cult is a mistaken idea. There should be propaganda to bring everyone to the Vaishnava cult. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. There is no bar to propagating the Krishna consciousness movement even among people who are born in Chandal, Mlecha or Yaman families. Even in India, this point has been enunciated by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his book Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is Smriti and is the authorized Vedic guide for Vaishnavas in their daily behavior. Sanatana Goswami says that as bell metal can turn to gold when mixed with mercury in a chemical process, so by the bona fide Diksha or initiation method, anyone can become a Vaishnava. One should take initiation from a bona fide spiritual master coming in the disciplic succession who is authorized by his predecessor spiritual master. This is called Diksha Vidhan. Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, Vyapashritya, one should accept a spiritual master. By this process, the entire world can be converted to Krishna consciousness. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So it's very wonderful purport. Nothing much to comment on this purport. I have no qualification or realization, but I beg the blessings of everyone so that I can repeat whatever I have heard. Hare Krishna. So it's a very wonderful purport. So the purport, this verse is speaking about how to attain perfection realization in chanting the mantra. So here the mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the mantra given to Maharaj Dhruva. And it's mentioned that how one should one should chant the mantra and one should worship the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada said that we have two processes. We have Bhagavad Vidhi and Pancharatriki Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi is hearing and chanting, and Pancharatriki Vidhi is deity worship. So both are very important. Both are very important. But Prabhupada specifically stressed Pancharatriki, I mean Bhagavad Vidhi, that someone may not need to personally take to deity worship, but hearing and chanting cannot be given up. Because hearing and chanting is a process by which the mind comes in contact with the Lord. That's why hearing and chanting is very, very important. Whatever service we may do doesn't matter, but hearing and chanting is most important. Sometimes when people come to the temple and they like to do service, but then morning program or hearing or chanting, they're not so much interested. So, of course, initially um, that may be all right, but then um, no, it is a must. If one wants to become Krishna conscious, not just activity conscious, but Krishna conscious, then one has to engage in hearing and chanting. Sri Ranath Maharaj's famous statement is there that if we are not striving to develop taste for hearing and chanting, we won't get taste in any other anga of bhakti. We may do so many things, but then if we are not striving, then there'll be no bhakti in that activity. Bhakti means feeling, feeling. That is bhakti. Being conscious that Krishna is there. I'm doing this for Krishna. And Krishna is a person. Krishna is not just stone, but Krishna is a person. Therefore, the purpose of whatever I'm doing is to please Krishna. One cannot be conscious of pleasing Krishna unless one knows what pleases Krishna. And one cannot be conscious of pleasing Krishna unless one knows how devotees have pleased Krishna, how pure devotees have pleased Krishna. One cannot please Krishna unless one is conscious, always conscious of how Guru wants us to please Krishna, how devotees want us to please Krishna. So it's a very meticulous process, a very conscious process. It's a very dynamic process. And it's at every moment it's different. It's not stereotype. But unfortunately speaking for myself also in this world, I'm so much used to processes. We're so much used to dealing with matter. So dealing with spirit is difficult because in spirit, dealing with spirit, it's a very dynamic surrender. So how do we get the spiritual strength to actually prosecute this process of bhakti? Only when we take help from the previous acharyas, only when we take help of the instructions and the examples set by the previous acharyas is it possible. Otherwise, speaking for myself, Prabhupada said, the famous classes by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is giving a class, and some persons in the middle of the class they got up to go somewhere, and Prabhupada said, "Where are you going?" And devotee said, "No, I have to do service." Prabhupada became very heavy, and Prabhupada said, "If you hear what you will do, you will only do sense gratification." And Prabhupada said, "If we don't uh, hear and chant, then this deity worship is deity is called Sri Vigraha, but it will become like Galagraha. Galagraha means a burden. Oh, why I have to worship deity? Such a burden. So much, so many, details are there, so many offerings, so many artis. Why I have to do?" So, speaking for myself also, that hearing and chanting and association of devotees is the only way we can get the spiritual strength to actually perform our services. Otherwise, naturally, speaking for myself also, tend to perform service for some ulterior motive. So the purport Prabhupada is speaking about how to worship the deity. Prabhupada said that in every arti we have every mantra we have the word Namaha. And Prabhupada said in every arti, on every process is accompanied by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Prabhupada stressed on chanting Hare Krishna and how Hare Krishna completes everything. Because otherwise, according to deity worship, there are so many rules and regulations. Of course, we should strive to follow as much as possible. But yeah, the only hope is the only process that actually completes everything in this age of Kali is actually Nam Kirtan. Nam Kirtan is a primary means to actually worship the Lord in this age of Kali. So that's why Nam Kirtan is most important. Most important. So the mantra, Prabhupada is speaking about the mantra, that one should understand what is the meaning of mantra. Who are we addressing when we're chanting the mantra? So while chanting the Mahamantra can either refer to um, Gaur Nitai or can refer to Radha and Krishna. Both are all right, or Krishna Balram or any other incarnations of the Lord. But principally, according to ISKCON, according to Srila Prabhupada, these two forms are there, Gaur Nitai and Radha Krishna. So this mode of chanting the holy name is begging the Lord to engage us in his loving service. O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your loving service. And then in the purport, Prabhupada is speaking about the importance of offering food stuff. So this is also very important that when we or when new people may come to the process, we tell them the importance of chanting. But along with chanting, also very important is what we consume, what we eat. According to the consciousness of the prasad or whatever we eat, accordingly our sadhana will be. So one has to be very careful that what one eats, from whose hand one eats. The person who is cooking or is preparing the food must have uh, nice, as much as possible, serious sadhana. And his only goal, ideally, they're all initiated devotees. Ideally, his only goal of life should be to attain love of Godhead. Only desire, goal of life should be to go back home, back to Godhead. So then only that prasad will purify and elevate us. Otherwise, if you eat prasad which is not prepared the best consciousness, or prasad prepared by persons who are not taking spirituality seriously, then naturally will be influenced, because the fact of the matter is the three modes of material nature are playing with, speaking about myself, playing with the mind. So and the mind is the way by which we make all decisions. So everything influences the mind. What we see, what we touch, what we hear, who we talk to, what we eat, everything influences the mind. All these activities of the senses influence the mind. So that's why Srila Rupa Goswami has spoken the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, how that all the senses have to be controlled, have to be engaged properly. And yes, Prabhupada is saying so wonderfully that how a deity should be installed and worshipped according to time, place, and circumstance. Actually, when Srila Prabhupada installed Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, ISKCON Vrindavan, when he installed the deities, he said, we're doing all this pratishtha, all these ceremonies, we're just doing simply this is Prabhupada's own words, we're doing it simply for the sake of the public, but actual installation of the deity is by Hari Kirtan. So the way it works is that When the pure devotee, because pure devotee is always in touch with Krishna. Mm. Krishna se tomar Krishna diti paro. Tomara shakati ache. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that pure devotee has the power to actually give Krishna to anyone and everyone. So pure devotee actually from the spiritual world, he in he makes by his pure love, by his pure loving service, he actually invokes the descent of Krishna's energy from the spiritual world mm, into the form of the deity. So that is only pure devotee can do, because pure devotee chants Prem Nam, he chants pure name. So he has the power to do that. So Prabhupada is saying that such a pure devotee, he has the liberty to act according to time, place, and circumstance. Just like Prabhupada in initial days, Prabhupada would tell devotees that if you cannot chant any mantras, just chant Hare Krishna. Just Hare Krishna. Um, and they were chanting Hare Krishna and offering everything, doing all the artis. So, because Prabhupada is on that platform, Prabhupada has the liberty to actually choose a process, and Lord will accept, Krishna will accept. So that is the power of pure devotee, actually. Pure devotee, whatever he says, Krishna will accept that thing for sure, without a doubt. Even if it may not be strictly according to Shastra. Of course, one should not neglect Shastra and say that Shastra is uh, useless, but we have to follow Shastra in the line of pure devotees. That's why Srila Prabhupada purports are very, very important. Because if you read only the translation Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it can be very, very bewildering, and one can end up going somewhere and trying some process. Suddenly you find someone one day chanting Hare Krishna, next day you find him somewhere in Himalayas. What happened to you? He said, yeah, I was reading Bhagavatam. And then after that, few days after that, you find him working some petrol station. I'm just giving just a random example. So this is a problem. When we don't follow acharyas, then we may end up in this kind of situation. Either not doing any austerity or doing too much austerity to the extent that no one gives up the process. So that's why it's very important. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, all these three. Guru, what Guru gives, the instruction Guru gives, and how devotees also very important. The devotees, they show us the example that how to implement Guru's instruction in our daily life, and Shastra. So all these three together will fix us very strongly on the path of Krishna consciousness. So it's very interesting. Prabhupada is speaking in the purport. The translation is about how one should chant the mantra, how one should uh, make a deity of the Lord, etc., etc. But in the purport, Prabhupada is stressing, if you see, on chanting and preaching. So this is very important, that the main deity of this age is actually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is not just the Yuga avatar, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it's very important that the yajna in this age by which the Lord is worshipped is actually Sankirtan yajna. And that's why those persons who do Sankirtan yajna, they will be able to please Lord Chaitanya. And Sankirtan yajna means direct chanting of the holy name and everything which supports chanting of the holy name. chanting of the holy name, Nam Sankirtan, and preaching. So everything that supports Nam Sankirtan and preaching is the yajna of this age. So devotees, whether they may be in any service, whatever service they may be doing, these two things are very, very important. To whenever we come to the temple, whenever we're when we're in the temple or outside the temple, to take part in the kirtan enthusiastically take part in the kirtan, and to be willing to uh, spread Krishna consciousness wherever possible. Preaching is not something that is, meant for a certain group of people. It's for everyone. Because if hmm, we don't develop this preaching spirit, then this movement, of course, Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada will make sure that this movement will go on, but otherwise, this movement will die. Either we contribute to the growth of this movement or we don't. So, the most important aspect of this movement is people. We have deities, we have everything, but if persons don't come, what's the point? Right? There's no point. So, one has to be very, very open minded, broad minded. Not like I'm not speaking about anyone here, but sometimes persons have this kind of mentality. I only want to preach to Indian, I only want to preach to people who are in my same, whatever, or so on and so forth. No, one should be very broad minded. Very broad minded. Why? Because Krishna loves every living entity. Aham bija pratapita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that every living entity is actually my part and parcel. So every living entity is extremely dear to Krishna. So if we can do anything to bring any living entity closer to Krishna, we should do it. We should do it according to time, place, and circumstance. And that's what preaching. And what is the most important aspect of preaching? The most important aspect of preaching is transferring faith. That's the most important thing. So according to the kind of faith we have, Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. This faith should be there. That by serving Krishna, everything will be established, everything will be fulfilled. Just like there's Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Prema. So if you are going for Prema, if you are anchoring for Prema, automatically Krishna will arrange in such a way that your Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha will be automatically fulfilled. Of course, we don't have to imitate, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, um, Srila Prabhupada said that even though he had a young wife and he had an old elderly mother at home, he still took sannyas to show that if you completely take to the service of Krishna, you sacrifice your life some completely for Krishna's service and Krishna's happiness, then Krishna will take care. This is Prabhupada's words. So of course you don't have to imitate, but the principle is there that uh, this kind of faith should be there, that Krishna will take care. And we should promote this. We should promote this. That how much practical it is depends on how much faith we have. If we have very deep faith, then it is very practical. It's like coming to the temple. It may not be very practical when it's very cold, so many things. But still, devotees are coming. Some devotees are coming. Why? Because they have that faith that by going to the temple, by engaging spiritual activities, my life will be wonderful. So, how practical something is depends on how much faith we have. And if we can transfer that faith to others, that is the greatest service we can do. If we can elevate someone's faith from doing spirituality out of duty, out of fear, elevate them to doing engaging in spiritual activity out of love, because that's what pleases Krishna. Krishna is a person. So what will please a person? If you go to someone and you ask for something, it won't be very much pleasing to them. But if you want to please that person, that will please Krishna. So, if we are attracted to Krishna, we want to please Krishna, then our service will be very pleasing to him. The difference between the karmi, yogi, the jnani, and the bhakta is interested in Krishna. He is not interested in Krishna's energy alone. He engages Krishna's energy to serve Krishna. But the karmis, jnanis, and yogis, they just interested in Krishna's energy. They just want something from Krishna. Oh, I want this, I want that. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but like generally, right? So this is very important. So today is also actually the disappearance day. I'll just take few minutes of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Rasikananda Prabhu. Astonishing acharyas actually. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he lived till the age of 144. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he's called Vaishnav Sarvabhauma. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he discovered the place of Lord Chaitanya, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was the one who confirmed that. At that time, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was so old that he couldn't, he was practically he could not see, and his back was bent. But as soon as he was brought to that place, immediately he jumped from his basket and he started dancing. That's the extraordinary nature of our acharyas. They defy all material conditions. They break all material rules. So I just think about it. Jagannath Babaji Maharaj could not see, could not walk. But then whenever Kirtan would start, he would start dancing. So this is called superhuman. If anyone wants to see superhuman things, can study the life of our acharyas. So Jagannath Babaji Maharaj had, throughout his life, he demonstrated extreme faith in the holy name. Extreme faith in the holy name. He stressed, always taking shelter of God Nitai, especially. He said that more important than anything else is actually to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. And that's why actually, even though he was in Suryakund in the early part of his bhajan, but then he moved to Navadvip. It's the same trend we can see also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said that if Krishna wants to give me darshan, he can come here and give me darshan. And same thing, God Krishna Babaji Maharaj also. He moved to Navadvip. And Saraswati Thakur. Saraswati Thakur gave this benediction. I can't remember, someone gave the benediction that anyone who does Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, by doing Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, going back home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. So in the same Srila Prabhupada also established Mayapur Chandradoy Mandir. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is, of course, Vaishnav Sarvabhauma, the crest jewel of all the Vaishnavas. He's a Siddha, realized spiritual form. And his main teaching, I don't want to go into details, but his main teaching is taking shelter of the holy names and taking shelter of God Nitai. Then Rasikananda Prabhu, another amazing acharya. Rasikananda Prabhu, he on the order of his guru Shyamananda, he was actually serving Radha Govinda, and it is mentioned that by his unprecedented service to the deity, he increased the beauty of the deity. He increased the beauty of the deity, and the deity became so much more attractive. And actually, that's the highest standard of Pujari Seva. If one, of course, I'm very fallen, but someone has that kind of love for the deity, then by his love, by his Seva, the deity becomes so much attractive to everyone. So that's why the pujari, whoever is worshipping the deities, sadhana is also very important. So after serving the deity for so many years, he actually, under the order of his guru, he started preaching. And he traveled widely for 40 years preaching. And of course, one famous incident is there that some mad elephants, were came to attack him. And he took some water, chanted the names of Gauranga, Gauranga, Krishna, Krishna, and he sprinkled the elephants with that water. The elephants bowed down and started chanting Hare Krishna. The Mahaprabhu is same as Mahaprabhu did in Jharkhand forest. And the way he left his body is also quite astonishing. He started kirtan, very powerful kirtan. And the way he left his body was that he entered into the Shirjor Gopinath Diti while doing kirtan. So, of course, his disciples were devastated because, you know, they weren't able to make a samadhi, but they made a pushpa samadhi, the garland of flowers from his body. So, astonishing Acharya, Rasikananda. So, would like to end here. Anyone has any question or comment? Yeah, it's true that anything offered to Krishna is prasad. Mm. But one famous incident is there that,
Prabhuji, could you please repeat the question?
yeah, the question is that I said in the class that one should eat from the hand of serious devotees. So the question is that, well, if something is offered to Krishna, then isn't it prasad? And then why should we discriminate basis of who is offering, etc., etc.? So yeah, my answer to that is that yes, anything offered to Krishna is prasad for sure, but at the same time, uh, according to the consciousness in which it is prepared, according to the amount of love with which it is prepared, accordingly, Krishna reciprocates. Krishna reciprocates. And yes, for Krishna's mercy is there in the prasad, of course, but that consciousness is also there. Both things are there. And for a pure devotee, mm, like very exalted devotees, for them, because yeah, this is a point, their consciousness is very high. So just like Paramahamsa, they can absorb the prasad part of it, and they won't be affected by the consciousness, whatever is in the prasad. But for someone who is not on that high platform, um, definitely, the consciousness is definitely there. Like one guru, actually, one disciple, one person cooked for one spiritual mother with this. He served the guru. So Maharaji, that he is one is Mahavishnu Maharaj, who has left the world many years ago. So he ate the prasad, and Mataji cooked said, "How is the prasad?" I said, "Yeah, it's good. It's very nice. But please don't play movie songs while making prasad." So she was shocked. She said, "Maharaj, how did you know that?" I said, "Yeah." So the thing is that, yeah, so both things are there. So yeah, one has to be very conscious and be very careful of where one is eating and what one is eating. So yeah, that's the humble. Roji, you'd like to add anything?
There is a story that one you only said that one year is like in Guru and when he Prasad one Mata and he and then for this thing is not the possible thing. And then the possible put something wrong. People know, then you say, I just why did you get this food to someone and what is it? Then they went and asked that market, how did you do this? He said, I went to school and I stole it. And something like that. And the consciousness came to me. But not the Prasad, I mean, that's not out of the It was offered market. That was offered. And then this one more transparent ground based on the hand of God. Like Krishna could use, but then they were saying nice and then they bought them. Then Krishna said, I can use it. Just by saying,
Yeah, okay. Would you like to add anything? Okay, so it's already very late. We'll end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhu evacha pattanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo